Solicitor General Jose Calida on Wednesday wants lawyer Jude Sabio disbarred for filing baseless suits before the International Criminal Court against President Rodrigo Duterte and other administration officials. Calida is one of the 11 individuals named by Sabio in his ICC complaint as liable for supposedly enabling Duterte's mass murders in the government's war on drugs. Calida says Sabio was once sanctioned by the Supreme Court for filing a bribery complaint against a trial court judge, which the High Court found baseless. The SC fined Sabio in 2008 and warned him that the repetition of the same or similar questioned act will be dealt with more severely. Calida says Sabio's complaint is another baseless suit that violates the SC's warning and therefore a ground for disbarment. He says, quote, "It appears that this lawyer is in the business of maliciously filing baseless suits based only on hearsays and unfounded suspicions." The Supreme Court, sitting as the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, pushes forward with the electoral protest filed by former Senator Bongbong Marcos against Vice President Leni Robredo for alleged cheating in the 2016 elections. The High Court sets a preliminary conference on June 21. The PET grants Marcos's motion to set a preliminary conference, quote, "without prejudice to the tribunal's resolution of all remaining pending incidents." Marcos requested for the preliminary conference because it will set in motion hearings on the electoral protest. When both parties submit their preliminary conference briefs, the SC can set a date for judicial revision of the ballots, something that the Marcos camp wants. The High Court says the preliminary conference will tackle not only Marcos's protest but also Robredo's counter-protest. Senate Minority Leader Frank Drilon on Wednesday urges on Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea to crack the whip on bickering cabinet officials. Drilon says Medialdea, as the most senior cabinet official, should take a more active hand in settling the infighting among some cabinet members. The senator served as Executive Secretary of former President Cory Aquino. Drilon says, quote, "He is the little president. He is the only Filipino who can sign for and in behalf of the president by authority. So he must exercise his powers for the good of the administration." Environment Secretary Gina Lopez has been at odds with other cabinet secretaries for her controversial policies on mining. President Rodrigo Duterte has given his support to Lopez and reappointed her when she was bypassed by the Commission on Appointments. Two of Duterte's closest men, Cabinet Secretary Leoncio Evasco Jr. and Special Assistant Bongo, are reportedly fighting over the issue of rice importation. Southeast Asian leaders, according to a draft statement, will express concern this week about an escalation of activities in the South China Sea, but will avoid directly criticizing Beijing. The statement is set to be released on Saturday at the end of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit in Manila. It reflects Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's efforts to ease tensions with China over competing claims over the disputed sea. The statement merely hints at China's island building in the sea without mentioning it by name. It says, quote, "We shared the serious concerns expressed by some leaders over recent developments and escalation of activities in the area, which may further raise tensions and erode trust and confidence in the region." Four ASEAN members, Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, along with China and Taiwan, have claims in the South China Sea. A United Nations-backed tribunal ruled last July that China's claims to nearly all of the sea had no legal basis and its construction activities there were illegal. The case was filed by Duterte's predecessor, Benigno Aquino. Duterte chose to pursue friendly ties with China instead of pursuing the implementation of the ruling. A senior United States lawmaker on Tuesday says former White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn didn't report that he received payments from Russian entities. Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz says it appeared Flynn, who resigned as a top aide to Donald Trump amid his alleged ties to Russia, broke the law by failing to disclose the payment from Russia's RT television. Flynn was supposedly paid more than $33,000 to attend a gala in December 2015, where he sat at the table with President Vladimir Putin. The payment comes to light amid the probe into Russian interference in the U.S. election, with investigators focusing on the ties between Moscow and some Trump advisors. The violations may constitute felony crimes that could bring up to 5 years imprisonment. Flynn denies any wrongdoing.